This is Task for the Weekend, November 20th, 2021. This is Susan Bradley for AskWoody.com. This week's tasks is brought to you by Muscular Portfolios, seminars and knowledge for the informed investor. Brought to you by Brian Livingston, also an Ask Woody columnist. If you'd like to sign up for his free newsletter, check out the link. Or you can sign up at bri.li/nt6. We now enter what I call the geek tech cleanup season. And that's the holiday season when you go visit friends and relatives. And hopefully we do it safely this year with COVID. And one of the things that I usually like to do, and I always do this for my dad's computer, is I make sure that their systems are nice and healthy. So I always check a few things. So I always start by checking for what I call unusual software. I go into the control panel and I go into add and remove programs and I sort by date and I see what's been installed recently. And if there's anything that I don't recognize, I question the person saying, do you remember if you installed anything about such and such a time? And if they don't recognize the program, and if I don't recognize the program name, out that software goes. Now you can go into add and remove programs, or you can go into programs and features and control panel, either way. And again, I sort by date and I look to see if I recognize everything in there. And if I don't recognize it, I'll uninstall it. So look through that list, sort by date, see if everything looks okay to you. Next one, and this is just as important these days, I go into each browser that they have installed on the machine and I review what plugins are installed, and I also look to see if there's any notifications. So many times you'll get where you've have in the browser those notification settings where you don't really want notifications from these websites, and they've wiggled in and gotten into that notification setting. So I always make sure I go into those two places and see what I've got installed. So here's Chrome, and I've gone to search on notifications and I've gone into the settings. And I always let sites ask me, and then I scroll down to see which sites have been allowed to send me a notification. Well, obviously, since I want to have those private messages from AskWoody.com, I've got that set up in my browser to say, yes, I want those notifications. But you always want to check in here because I've come across situations where something pops up and you're like, how is that getting through my security defenses? And sure enough, it's been wiggled into this area and allowed to add a notification. So I always check for that to make sure what has been added. Next, do you want to install a new browser? Do you want to install Brave and try that out? What about the Tor browser? Now sometimes Tor gets a bad reputation because of what is done by it and with it by people. Tor browser by itself is not malicious or bad. It's kind of what you do with it. But it is an extremely private browser. Some of the websites and things won't work with it, so you do have to kind of play around with it. And you may want to be a bit, be brave to use Brave instead of Tor. But definitely try some different browsers out this holiday season and see what you like. And see what your relatives like as well. Check what antivirus is installed. Many times I come across systems that if they have antivirus, make sure it's up to date. If it's a paid for antivirus, make sure there's an active subscription and it's not out of date. I'm personally still a fan of Defender. Recently I saw an interesting situation where even now, after this many years and this many dates, Microsoft was having issues with Kaspersky. I'll show you what I mean. But Microsoft Installer may have issues updating or repairing apps because of an interaction with Kaspersky. Specifically, Kaspersky Endpoint Security for Windows interacts with the latest versions of Windows updates. There is a fix incoming, but it's interesting that even after all these years and Kaspersky being a partner with Microsoft, that there's still issues and side effects with third-party antivirus. Next, I want you to check on what feature release version that Windows 10 is on. In particular, 2004 feature release drops out of support in December, so you want to make sure you click on the Start Settings About, and check what feature release they're on. Many times in home machines, my dad in particular, I see this on his, he doesn't turn it on long enough for it to capture those feature releases, so he sometimes will be a couple of versions out of date because either he doesn't approve them or he doesn't turn it on long enough for it to catch those feature releases. So again, check to see what version they're on. When you have a machine that can handle Windows 11, there's an interface that you'll see in the Windows Update section. And you may want to check with a person. I'm guessing that you probably don't want to have your friends and loved ones being on Windows 11 because they'll probably drive you to distraction with questions. So in that Windows Update interface, you should see this window that looks like the offering to Windows 11. It won't get pushed, it'll get offered. And you'll get a button to say download and install, or see it's kind of hidden over there on the right hand side, but it says stay on Windows 10 for now. The people that I've seen push to Windows 11 have been on the Insider editions. I have not seen anyone with a normal, non-Insider release of Windows 10 being pushed to Windows 11. Let me repeat that. I have not personally seen anyone having a normal Windows 10 that can update to Windows 11 be pushed to Windows 11. What I've seen is people have been on the Insider editions and they've been pushed to Windows 11 when they're on the Insider. It's one of the reasons why I stay out of the Insider program. I only put on Insider programs on test machines and on workstations that I have as virtual machines. I use them as test beds only. So again, if they've got a Windows 10 hardware that can handle Windows 11, you should start to see in that Windows Update screen this offering window, and you can go in there and click on stay on Windows 10 for now, and it will defer it. Alternately, I hope everyone knows by now that we've got those target release version registry keys. I'm going to put a link in the blog about this again. And if you don't know about it already, please read up on it. All you have to do is use a registry key to stay on Windows 10. As always, have a great week. I'll be getting ready to decorate for Christmas this week. We're still on MS DEF CON 2, meaning we're not quite ready to officially let everyone install updates. I know a lot of you have been testing them out and reporting on it. Thank you very much in the forums. I want to make sure that when we do go up to DEF CON 4 and say it's okay to install updates, you'll want to install 2.1H1 at that time. 2.1H2 is already out, but I always like to wait a little bit, wait at least a couple of weeks, and that's why I'm not recommending 2.1H2 at this time. Still stay on 2.1H1. As always, see you in the forums. This is Susan for AskWoody.com.